Overall, Jim, last weekend, just quickly reflect on that. I suppose you're pretty pleased. Couldn't have finished the block of games that you wanted to in much better fashion.
Yeah, very pleased. We were disappointed not to pick anything up from our European trip out to Paris, but I think to come back to beat Ospreys the manner that we did, potentially, we could have scored another couple of tries and should have. We created really well. But I think just to get over the line, to see George North score that fourth try, get our bonus point, get the 5 points, was very, very pleasing.
Another one of those transitional weeks then for the lads, with a lot of people going away now. A lot of different faces coming into the squad as well, which would be nice for you.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. It's, it is a transition week. Delighted for all those international lads who have gone away. We've done really well there, and that's a real reflection on the way that they've played for the club this year. So we've got to move on and we've got to prepare. In the short term, doing well in this competition, in the sort of mid-term, to get these players up to speed, ready for Premiership games, which start in 3 weeks' time. So it's been a busy week. It's a great test for them against Newcastle. I think we're expecting a good crowd here, which just adds to the atmosphere. And hopefully we can put out a real good performance and good show.
Is it hard work for the coaches as well these kind of weeks, because you've got to quickly rush people through plans and stuff that maybe they weren't part of before?
Yeah, I think it's just slightly different. I think you've probably got to go back to basics a little bit. You can't just assume that you're at the same point and where we were with all the international players here. So you've got to go back a little bit. You've got to simplify, and you've got to make sure you get your basic game plan correct. So that's what we've been doing. The lads have been working very, very hard behind the scenes. We've got some very good leaders still involved in the squad who have been driving the standards and driving everything that we do.
I suppose one of them is Phil Dowson, isn't it? He always comes to the fore at these kind of times of year when he needs to lead the young players through these sort of periods.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be, just too delighted at hearing his name, just, because of the LV. But he was unfortunate that he got injured pre-season, so he made a slow start to the season. But he's slowly been pushing his way through, and there's some good appearances from the bench over the last few weeks. But somebody like him is now a great opportunity for him to get a bit of proper game time, to start a few games, and his leadership is unquestionably outstanding. He's a brilliant leader, leads from the front, and we're very, very lucky to have him.
One player I suppose you're looking forward to seeing in the first team environment is Joel Hudson. How have you sort of reflected on his progress so far since dinner?
We've been very pleased. He, again, a little bit like Phil Dowson, he was injured in pre-season training, so didn't get too involved on the rugby side. So it's only most recently, over the last 6 weeks or so, that he's been getting in there. And scrum half is a different position to fly half. He has played there in the past, but not a lot. And it takes time to get back to speed. But I think we've seen some real good signs from him. He's had some outings recently, and most recently against Oxford and Cambridge, where he's been getting better and better. So it'll be a big test for him playing against his old team at scrum half. But I'm looking forward to seeing him.
It was a nice occasion for him though, wasn't it, as well, because we know a lot of the lads there as well. We're quite comfortable hopefully in this sort of environment.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a very comfortable rugby player. It's not as if playing at LV or Premiership level is new to him. So that's the advantage he's got. He's used to playing in front of crowds and in pressurised games. The position is slightly different, but as I say, he's a very good rugby player, and I'm sure he'll go well.
Looking at one of the players that's away then, Stephen Myler, obviously a lot of people talk about him playing for England. Perhaps your thoughts on him and whether he should be in that England team?
It's a tricky one, isn't it, in terms of what the coaches are looking for, and what we know is what he does for us every single week, and that's he's a vital cog in the way that we play. He's a link between the forwards and backs. He's very accomplished going forwards, makes really good decisions, understands the game, works hard with the coaches through the week. I think that's something that people don't really sort of recognise and probably understand the amount of analysis that goes on. But he works very, very closely with all the coaches to deliver that game plan, and he's the one who basically delivers it. Him with the pack leader, making the calls, making the right decisions in the right places on the field. So we know what he does for us. We know why we like him. Whether the England coaches, what they choose for their starting fly half, is up to them, and I guess only time will tell.
Do you get a little bit bored of the criticism of Stephen Myler? Not maybe the criticism of him, Jim, but the way that other people talk about him, that he's one-dimensional, and they say that maybe Danny Cipriani would be a better choice because he's more enigmatic, so to speak.
No, I think everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I think that's one of the beauties of rugby. Everybody does have an opinion, and nobody will ever pick the same 15, whether that's for Northampton Saints or England. So everybody's got their view, and that's fine.
In terms of injuries then, Sam Dickinson, what's the situation with him at the moment? How's he getting on with his recovery?
He's making a real good recovery, to be honest. He lost a little bit of weight after his operation, and he's worked hard to put that back on. He's regaining his strength in the gym day by day. He's out now running. So we're very hopeful that in the next few weeks, he'll be back into some full training and then hopefully ready to play for us very soon.
Any news on Luther, because he's been to see a specialist? I think that the England coach was saying yesterday.
He's been to see the specialist, and we've just got to see. Hopefully, it'll just settle down over time. He has cracked a bone in his hand, so it'll take a little bit of time to repair. But a lot of that will just depend on how Luther can manage the pain and how quickly it will heal. And hopefully he won't need an operation. It'll do it naturally. And Luther's confident that he'll be able to get back soon.
And George Peacey?
Yeah, George Peacey is another one who is recovering. He's making good progress. He can't go out there and run or sprint at the moment. He's still just into a couple of weeks into pulling it. So that's improving. It's getting better. And again, he's back at the club now. He's being managed by our physios, and we'll look after him until he's ready to go again.
The final one, obviously, everyone wants to know about is John Fisher, because he made a big impact at the start of the season for you. Yeah,
John Fisher, he's back and available. So it was unfortunate that he missed out for the last couple of weeks. He was poorly for a few days and allowed opportunities for other people, notably Phil Dowson. But he's back there, raring to go now. We're delighted with the way he played at the beginning of the season, and he'll be involved this weekend.
Just one final one on the LV Cup then. The fact that it's a home final, it could be a home final, how much incentive is that for you and the guys?
Yeah, it seems a long way off finals, but naturally it's great to have it here, and you'd rather have it here than Exeter or anywhere else. So we're pleased that that's the situation, but we're not. We are aware that we've got to work hard to qualify, and there's quite a lot of hoops to go through before we get there. So as always, game at a time, first things first. Let's see if we can get a good result against Newcastle.